Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II, World at War with our Allied playthrough. In the last episode, we took on the turn of June 18th, 1943, accomplishing mostly everything. We still have the Soviets and some stuff with America left. We'll look at the Soviets first. There's a lot of things happening. As we push towards Munich, we were one hex away from getting there, and the tank defending Leipzig came in to defend it. It is unentrenched for the time being, but what we have over here is unfortunately so minimal. We can take the core next to it and then start going around it with the goal of trying to surround it. We can move the armored train up to take the forward position around it. The paratroopers can't quite get very far, and they probably also won't do any paratrooping, to be honest. We already used some units down in Hungary to kill out a German unit, I believe, maybe Italian, that was defending Croatia. So a lot of these units have already moved. Not the Cav. The Cav can go ahead and reinforce. We have a lot of injured units due to supplies and just the rapidness of our advance, I suppose. It's been pretty quick. What will we need westwards? We would need the tanks more than anything. We can even operate things right over here right now, which is actually a big deal because we did get rocket artillery. Now, our artillery is not the greatest, but if we do get rocket artillery over here, and as you can see, the rear is pretty clear, then we can start getting firing here and hopefully weakening them from afar next turn. I've gone ahead and moved the first rocket artillery over. We have the second and third ready to go as well. I'll pick similar deployment spots along the border here, places where they can operate out from. Also, the 2nd Marine Division Special Forces to deploy for America. We will go ahead and do that. We'll place it next to San Diego where it can still access the port. We're also going to upgrade that Special Forces next to it to get it on par, and then come back over to Russia, where we have some cavalry and stuff that's capable of advancing, not very far, so we'll get it moving right now. It can't quite get all the way. There's no point crossing into Croatia as we're not going to be able to, well, I guess the Russians would be able to supply pretty well, actually. But we have Bratislava surrounded completely, the Slovakian capital. However, the enemies defending this are pretty strong. Not something you want to mess around with. The terrain here does not favor a vast or fast advance. We'll get some reinforcements in here where we can. There's some places where we definitely do want to get some reinforcements in. Let's see. Even more. So many troops that have just been injured throughout the fighting and have not gotten a chance to replenish or have been busy upgrading, which can be said for a lot of them over here. Either still need upgrades or have been upgrading to get their mobility. I'm going to prioritize getting replenishments on whomever I can. Anyone that's particularly close to the front, basically just going to have advance. Let's see. We have some other guys coming in from behind that can catch up as well, pretty well. We'll move this army over to Dresden. This way nothing's going to break through Dresden. We have an army capable of approaching this garrison, however, we might as well attack it from somewhere that has a prepared attack. So we'll send this corps after it, dealing 4 damage. We're actually in their fortifications here, which is amusing. We can move. I probably want to do this with a corps. We'll move this corps forward, or this one. Yeah, we'll move this one from Krakow. Has all of its upgrades. We'll attack the enemy garrison, wiping it out. Small national morale bonus for what that is worth. The attack bombers here at Prague shall suffer the wrath of our corps. We can get it completely surrounded right now. In fact, we'll move this corps forward, attacking and finishing off the enemy at Prague, which opens up more movement range to us, which is important. We'll go ahead and secure Prague with this unit, and we want to get that mechanized moving out, because that mechanized can really make it far. I think we'll use this one to actually help surround Bratislava, which, as we can see, there's still a lot more units around here that we probably would have missed. We'll give mobility to this mechanized. It also needs replenishments, which is the main reason why I'm granting it this. Oh, and we could definitely do with moving forward with our HQs and stuff. We have a bit of a pile-up here, actually. We have a bit of a pile-up. We definitely want to get this HQ over to Berlin. So we're going to have to move the Mongolian Corps out of here. So we're going to move it down into the hills. Ooh, just trying to surround Leipzig to trap this enemy over here. We don't have units that have the upgrades to really complete the operation of surrounding it from this direction, except this tank. The problem is I want this tank to get its advanced tank, so I'm going to go ahead and prioritize that. We'll get this army moving around behind the enemy core. We have another army here that can move forward. And we can deal some good damage to this opponent. So, we also have bombers that can fly. However, important to note, these bombers, this one bomber that I can have fly, is not going to be in the best position with all the enemy fighters. But we're going to go ahead and do the bombing anyway. Enemy interceptors flying, but I'm sure their interceptors are having a hard time keeping their strength up, given everything that's been happening. Woo, shit. There's a lot of losses on either side, probably more on the Soviet side. I'd be surprised if it was anything different. Ouch! Let's take that HQ and get that down to, well, it doesn't even have to be Berlin, but we'll send it down to Berlin, probably. Both of these HQs are moving in this direction. I feel like I really want to have one moving down south, though, as opposed. We have the one at Resoula that could simply move west instead. So that might be how I do it. Yeah, we'll send the newer HQ over here. The older HQ to Berlin. The Percave HQ can either move on to the fortification or just behind Dresden. It could probably, no, it could not have made Dresden. We have a lot more upgrades to pass on, so I'll go ahead and start handing out mobility to a lot of these units over here that are in the rear. Do we have any research we can do? Only at 125, and there's really nothing we can do there, so that's good. No diplomacy, no chits to assign. That's another good thing. I'd love to get one of these other HQs moving forward. I guess I probably could. However, we might want to spread it out, is what we might want to do. Have one head down to Budapest, that might be better. And one simply moving forward. Yeah, that sounds like a much better plan. We have this core that can move pretty far forward. And the core that can move forward after them. Anyone that just doesn't have mobility, I'm going to prioritize to get mobility just to make room for those that do have mobility, just to be able to, like, advance. We'll move forward this guy. He's already gotten his shot in. He's done his moves. We have an army over here that's going to follow the road. We have a core over here that's going to do the same. A lot more units over here that can go ahead and get their mobility upgrades. Some of them even able to get elite reinforcements. Head down towards this gap. I remember when this gap was the front. Send that AA after. Follow on up with these armies trying to reach the front. Reinforce this core in the rear. Gotta recover our troops. More cores moving forward. Reinforce this core in the rear. Reinforce these engineers in the rear. We have AA that can move up as well. Another one where it's like, yeah, it can kind of keep up, but not really. But we'll just move it up to Prasov, where the HQ just was. Without much ability to move here, this core can't get very far. But it can get up to here, which is notable. What that means is that we can actually take this mechanized and send it around to the back and send this core up to take its place. It's not the greatest having this tank relegated to defensive duty. I could move it forward and then just operate like a garrison up to it. 6 MPPs to do so. Don't know if I want a garrison here, though. We've already abandoned a lot of this so much. They have mostly anti-tank here, so a shock heavy tank, a guard heavy tank, whatever the fuck, is maybe not the best choice, but it works. They don't have any air power over here, so I'm not too worried about keeping any planes over here for coverage, so we're going to move this one west into Hungary, which we have taken over. I can go ahead and upgrade the 2nd Red fighters with their long-range aircraft. We have fighters over here on Warsaw that could definitely do with moving forward. I'll go move those up near the enemies, well, no, near our HQ and near our AA over here. We have an anti-tank that can get its mobility, we'll hand that out. We want to move this fighter up, certainly. Ooh, but how much? Ooh, but how much? Same thing with these. We'll probably see how much damage we can do here before I do anything like that. Let's move this special forces up. Now, yeah, the attack value on these special forces is really something special. This is a hard target. Special forces has 5 hard attack. And what about this army? 5. I'm amazed they do so much better, like all the time. But we're going to go ahead and attack, dealing 3 damage, taking 1. Fair trade. Go ahead and attack with the army. 2 damage. None taken. 2 damage. None taken. The Mongolian Corps doesn't look like it's going to have as much luck, but the shock heavy tanks can move up, so let's do that. Alright, nice. Take 1 damage, but with that, Leipzig is taken, and we can already move off of it. The HQs can certainly have room to move forward sooner rather than later. I'll move this bomber up so it can be in very good supply and hopefully favored. Move this one to a safer spot as well. Well, yeah, I don't want to put it right there, so we'll move the fighter up about as far as I can get it. We'll take the bombers, and we don't really know what's over on this side yet, but we do know that we have some TAC bombers and medium bombers. The TAC bombers have shorter range right now. They can get upgrades, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we need to be up in this area. That's one problem. So I'm going to do something I was planning on doing, is I'm going to take the paratroopers, head them west to kind of see what they have over here around what I believe used to be the Maginot. Yeah. And I can see that it should probably be safe to actually just move these bombers forward. So we'll move the bombers forward along the road here as we get ready to use them to de-entrench and hurt the enemy panzers here and hopefully overwhelm them in very short time. Maybe not next turn, but I think in about 2 turns, roughly, we should be able to pull that off. That's what I'm thinking. We have this corps capable of attacking enemy fighters in Frankfurt. They're going to go ahead and do that. 2 damage dealt. We can move, but we'll stay where we are. You guys are just going to hold off against this paratrooper that's continuously attacking us up here. The Baltic fighters here are going to get their long-range aircraft upgrades to expand their coverage over the region that they are in. This man has done his strikes, but he can keep moving. Not many things here can. We'll take Pilsen. That's a mine. That could be pretty handy. And then we'll move up and kind of cut through the road here, which should hopefully help claim the rest of that for us. And just like that, we've moved pretty much everything Soviet. I'm going to take this sub out of its silent mode, putting it in hunt mode. And we will move up to where we can raid this some more. I've decided that it's worth it. They don't really have access to their bombers in this region, and their maritime bombers died attacking land targets, which I still find so silly. I don't believe we have any research. That's right, no, we don't. So we do have some purchases we could look at doing, perhaps, instead. With the Russians, I will go ahead and purchase a brand new Special Forces unit. Oh, we can name it Marines. How fitting for what I have intended for it. I'm going to go ahead and purchase that Special Forces, 249 MPPs. I'm going to deploy it over here. It could be pretty handy if we go ahead and declare war on the Japanese at any point. It could be pretty handy at wiping out the enemy planes that are here and securing this, rather than having to operate somebody all the way over here. We can't even operate over there. That's not possible. And so Special Forces, if they can deploy over here, would be the perfect ones for getting in and getting out and just making do with that as is. We still have 276 MPPs. There's a couple things I could spend that on. One thing, namely, is I could spend that on the anti-air upgrades for our Navy. Is that really relevant? Maybe not right now, but maybe it could become relevant with dealing with Japan. We don't really know how long Japan's going to hold out, but we do know that Europe's fate is sealed. Now, I can potentially go ahead and get even more stuff here. There's not a lot we need if you think about it. Our land forces are already numerous. We could go for another Special Forces, but I don't think we have enough to replicate exactly what we just did. I could go for another armored train, but this would have no real purpose other than, hey, look, it's another armored train. I could go for a destroyer, and then that'd be pretty easy to make because we don't have many upgrades, and I can try to put it over where that carrier would come out because theoretically it would use an escort. So a lot of things I could get, although due to my situation, there's really nothing that I need at all. Everything is fine for the USSR, so since the land battle goes fine, is going to be won no matter what at this rate, I guess we can think about the battle in the Pacific, because that's where they might be needed. So let's go ahead and get a destroyer. They can only even get 2 more. 2 more sounds great to me for guarding a carrier that gets deployed over there, if it ever even gets to see any action. We'll go ahead and purchase that 1 destroyer, leaving us with 72 MPPs that, given the circumstances, we will probably just not do anything with, except for, right, I forgot, another destroyer is over here. One thing that's sad is you can't sail the north over here to get around, no matter the season. Maybe that's just climate difference back then, But I know in real life you can sail this, although sometimes you need specialized ships to actually do it. That might use some modern tech that I might not be considering. And so we still have 649 MPPs left to spend as America. America has already invested its points, its research is kitted out. We have enough to purchase something, that much is certain. One thing I'm going to purchase, that might seem a little weird, is for Brazil. It's a motor torpedo boat. This is just like a cheaper destroyer, if you look at it. It's best for ASW purposes, not really for fighting other ships. And now there's a reason I'm going to do that. Look, it's so cheap, 98 MPPs. I'm going to purchase it, and I'm going to show you why I'm purchasing it. Because, look where all the German subs are. And then look at the distance between Brazil and that. If these subs decide to try to raid this, Brazil could defend its coasts, but not only that, could actually go out and defend this along with the British submarines. We still have 551 MPPs remaining. We have all the special forces we could get. We have probably more carriers than we need. We don't need to order another carrier right now. Something else that we could definitely use for America would be, well, like we just purchased, more escorts. Because we have a large capital ship fleet. It's impressive. We could also use more maritime bombers, which I would have wanted to get forever ago, to actually man these islands. But at the same time, the Japanese surface fleet is pretty much devastated already. So I think I will go ahead and I'm going to order a destroyer for America. That's 194 MPPs for one. We did end up losing one, if you remember correctly. So this is just replacing it. 357 MPPs remaining. We could get another destroyer. We'll need plenty because that's actually the biggest problem we have with their navy in the Pacific. Sure, they may have a cruiser lying around. They may have a battleship lying around, but look at over here. You remember all the sub problems we're having over here? What could help with that? Destroyers, escort carriers too, I guess. They take the same amount of time to make, and I don't know. Whereas the attack on an escort carrier against enemy submarines is a little bit better. It has no zone of control, and its defense against submarines is not nearly as good. So I'm thinking just destroyers. I meant to get these a long time ago, but then we had to focus so many other things. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase another destroyer for America. And voila, 2 destroyers for America. We cannot afford another one with full upgrades, so we'll look at spending these points another way for right now. We do have some plane upgrades that we can go ahead and hand out to our fighters. Is this really very relevant? No, it is not. However, keeping everything up to shape is a good idea, at least to ingrain in my playstyle to keep in mind during a PvP. This one's unfortunately undersupplied and cannot do anything. Yeah, getting an HQ over here like MacArthur would be pretty helpful to this region. Definitely pretty helpful. We could do that. The thing is just, we don't need to. This is not going to be a major point of contention for us. I thought it would be. I thought it could be, and I didn't fully understand what it was like to put planes on islands when I moved over here. Now I understand a lot better. I could, say, operate this up here and have it help in breaking through here. That's something I could do. We also have medium bombers up here that could do the same thing. However, I don't believe that's necessary. So instead, I'm going to go spend my points on something else that's equally unnecessary, such as upgrading the first Mexican garrison to have it get up to snuff. That was like 50 MPPs right there, as well as upgrading the third garrison with some AA, bringing us down to 53 MPPs. All naval and otherwise movements that we plan on doing have been completed, and so I believe we're ready to kick this over into the next turn. Yeah, I don't believe I've missed anything that I actually want to do or can afford to do. Yeah, no, looks good to me. Let's go ahead and pass it over into July. Albri's allies liberate Yugoslavia. Woo! That was a fun one. Combining a lot of words there. Japanese bombers in Guadalcanal hinder supply to Australia. Oh, okay, so is this Guadalcanal? Yes, it is. Okay. So that's hurting our supply in Australia. Okay, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. So they have bombers here. Good to know. Afghanistan to allies, 5%. Oh, that finally went through, did it? That's funny. Okay, India. Oh. Oh my god. Is this copyrighted? That's a cool snippet. That's pretty cool. Soviet soldiers celebrate the fall of Berlin. I wonder if that's only if they take it over. But their national morale is probably through the roof. I stopped tracking national morale because it's not really an issue for us. We're basically full up on most of everybody. The Soviets and Chinese are crazy full up because they've completely outperformed in every way. America's doing great, yet still probably the lowest for active national morale, unfortunately. Tech finishing. Ooh, USSR HQ tech. That's amazing. That's so useful. Lots of MPPs. I also don't pay as much attention to the MPPs right now because I've just so decisively won already, even if I'm not at the ending. That's like, yeah, I got a flood of MPPs. So what? Insurrection against the Axis in Naples as Allied forces approach. Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious. I don't know what effect that has, but that's hilarious. How are you going to handle this? Well, first you're going to run a destroyer into a heavy cruiser, like a real smart person. Then you're going to sail your sub through my entire formation to try to attack that heavy cruiser, losing 3 damage on the way and 3 damage upon attack and only dealing 1 damage. What the fuck, AI? What the actual fuck? Oh, HQ just moved way back. It just moved way back. And they went on the offensive here, losing 2 damage. That's big. The more they hurt themselves on the Chinese front, especially from the south, getting close to Kyoto, the better. Ooh, that's big. That's big, big. Let's see. We whack. Oh, did that just go southeast? Fuck. And I can't guarantee that the Special Forces even gets into the port. So that could just kill them. Paratroopers of Hamburgs attacking across a river and doing well. Defensive artillery already! Hell yeah, that's what I want to see. Nerfing their attack, but their attack was still terrifyingly effective. Holy shit, well there goes a lot of our ammunition. These already don't have their upgrades, is one thing to keep in mind. Probably just saved the life of that armored train, to be fair. Probably just saved its life. A lot of aerial movement. Oh, they backed up onto Sendai. Urgh. And then they moved up a new army. Jesus Christ, where are you getting this shit? I don't understand, man. Another garrison just appeared over here. Looks like it operated over there. Italians are like all desperately operating back to their homeland now. French partisans disrupt supply in Bordeaux. Alright. Well, Bordeaux's about to fall, so. They probably had Hungarians on here if they had anything, because I didn't really see that popping before, I don't think. And that's their turn. They're really not hurting us. It's like the competition is done. Holy shit. Alright. Army near Tokyo. But what's on Tokyo? Got an HQ. Stuff in Norway. Yeah, I haven't even bothered with Finland. I know Finland stuff is there and I haven't bothered. Heavy tanks now available for production. UK. Oh, that's nice. And for America. Oh, that's nice. Wow. And we got all those garrisons popping. More rocket artillery. A railgun. Another HQ. Holy shit. Holy fuck. Alright. God damn. So let's go ahead and look at China first and foremost, as they have a lot of things going on that interest me. Still gonna need to get these HQs moving up. Okay. We'll move the 13th Army forward into the mountains, where it'll have a pretty good position. I want to get that arty up. For it to be able to fire right now, it needs to do a swap. Things over here need to repair. So let's move the 54th Army and swap it with the arty. And then we can have the arty in a position where they can fire, and they can still upgrade, but there's really no big importance to have them upgrade. And we'll be able to get an HQ forward. So let's go ahead and get the HQ forward. We'll go ahead and we'll send the arty on the enemy special forces that we are actually in range of, dealing 1 damage in addition to reducing their entrenchments. This could be a good one to push up against. However, we're not going to be able to advance much, but our ability to kill over here is improving. The engineer is also super weak to our bombardments. Super, super weak. It just moved up here. It doesn't have any actual entrenchments or anything. We're not going to be moving at lightning speed, but we are moving. Italy's national morale down to 8%. Japan, okay. Soviets are at 139%. Yeah, this is why I stopped tracking. 130% for the Japanese or Chinese. This is hilarious, the shit we can do right now. We can definitely push this back. There's no way we can't. 100% we can push that shit right back. Let's go ahead and try it. Let's go and use the Arty on the Indochina Expedition Army. Let's see. I could replace either of these. You have the best attack chance. For some reason. Even with worse supply. And voila! We have killed a bitch. We can now move this army forward, and our targets grow exponentially. I could try to kill this tactical bomber, or I could go for the HQ. Killing the tactical bomber is immediate and frees up more space on the front. Killing the HQ, which would take another hit, not just this one, can definitely hurt them. However, what I'm noticing is that up north, they've made their front more exclusively of support units than armies. They're stuffing off the big crap on the area that's closer to Tokyo, meaning they're running out of land troops. Clearly they have an army here that they can move elsewhere, but that's one thing that's clear to me right now. They are running out of land units. We'll definitely move this Arty forward. We want to get the HQs moving forward because we need to get a much better supply spread. So let's move both of these HQs right now. They got to get moving up. We're not going to be able to move the special forces up currently at this rate. I think I'll go ahead and I'll try to kill the tactical bombers. Just freeing up another hex, another space for our units to operate while we have upgraded infantry armies in the front. It's pretty big, because even if they put armies up on the front, you know, they can't even operate out here. If my supply spread works better than theirs, then we can move down here and expand the front to 3 hexes for a moment. And unless they replace the army, you know, over here with the HQ, they move those, they're not going to have a good chance at holding. But even if they do hold, so what? I have Arty, and I can have a 3 hex front, which is a pretty big deal in my eyes. For now, we'll go ahead and we'll just give elite reinforcements to these special forces, which can actually get even more elite reinforcements than that. I guess we'll just move you up behind. I was tempted to say, oh, let's put you on an amphibious transport. We already have one. We don't really have anywhere to send it. Well, that's a lie. Could technically send it right here, right now. Now that I think about it. I could make that 3 hex front a reality this instant. If I just do a landing. Is it an efficient use of my MPPs? The answer is probably no. But it works. It would help me do more damage sooner. Okay, sure. Let's do this in a way we can get like an actual amphib attack off as well. So let's go ahead and attack with the amphib transport and then drop ourselves. Thankfully, we took no casualties on the landing. Let's go ahead and attack the HQ, dealing 3 damage, taking none. And just like that, we have the elite 5th Army off of their transports on what is now a 3 hex front. We have half killed this supply source, this HQ, this buff, as well to their combat stats. We can also see they do still have stuff at Niigata. This cruiser doesn't need to stay where it is. Doesn't need to go anywhere. We don't have a lot of armies due to my priorities in not purchasing more armies and instead just going extremely, extremely heavy on this front. This army still needs to get into a better position. We're going to run that down that away for the time being. I guess I can set one of these guys up. They don't have mobility, which is a shame. They don't have their upgrades because I've been spending it on other things. However, it's not required, but opportunities keep popping up to use amphibious units like this. So let's go ahead and put one into the one transport that we have. We'll upgrade the other army with anti-air mobility so that at least it has it. Research-wise, we have no room to do anything. We have no diplomacy chits to allocate as Japan either. China. Oh my god, I'm forgetting what country we're taking over both. Holy crap. Again, some purchases we can do, but nothing too big. If I do purchase anything, is going to be in the way of armies for this nation, which we wouldn't be able to get everything for that, so I might just hold on right now. With the North going stupidly fucking well, I'm gonna go ahead and try to take a bite out of their weakest unit here, the engineers. They will naturally fly interceptors, but we have interceptors as well, and we can keep repairing ours, whereas they can't. They took 3 damage, I think? 3 or 5, I don't know, my vision's not that great. We dealt a little bit of damage to the land units, not as much as I'd want, but that's fine. We just need to keep doing damage. They can't keep up, even with all the stuff they've taken over. They cannot keep up. We've taken a number of hits and damage on our air, but we've done damage. We've done important damage. We'll go ahead and use the 13th Army to attack with a blitz attack on this enemy special forces, dealing 1 damage, taking none. Hey man, that's good odds to me. We'll also go ahead and attack the engineers here, dealing 5 damage, taking 1. Once again, good odds to me. I'm happy with that. We should have supply to actually get this 12th Army up to snuff now that we have an HQ right here in the thick of things. At least that's what I'd hope. This front, man, it's so tiny. It's so hard to fit anything in here, and due to the time scale, it's so hard to get things done. But we're making noticeable progress every single turn. It's a very small front, so it may be a little hard to kind of realize that, but we are making notable progress. With my remaining money for China, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade the other HQs we have, the other 2 that we're currently sitting on, to get them fully upgraded, just in case for whatever reason they need to be sent out. That leaves me with 21 MPPs, and so I am done with my China moves, and I'm out of time for this episode. And so, we will tackle the rest of this turn on the next one.